Hello, I am back. It has been a couple days since the big update that released. If you didn't know, it is out. You can grab it now. You can play with all of the changes to the Balkans, France, Slovakia, Hungary, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I am back to show you what I've been working on since then. I did take a small break for a couple days, but I am back on it now. I got three things to show you mainly today. The first one is not in view right now, but as soon as I scroll down, you'll hopefully be able to see it. It's 5 new countries. It's the microstates. A lot of people have been asking Paradox for these microstates to be added. A lot of people have been asking me to have these microstates added, and now they are. And they have their own names, they have their own flags, they have their own leaders, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to show you that first of all. Second major thing is I added Banat. Hold up.
Banat.
Banat. I had the Banat. Is it really that? Hold on, let's watch a YouTube video.
Banat or Banat, Europe.
Banat. I'm gonna do Banat. I honestly don't know. I know I have some people from Hungary, Romania, the Balkans, all this area, Serbia. I have them in the audience. Please correct me. But I'm gonna call it the Banat for now. But yeah, I added that as a separate entity from the Rex Commissariat that comes out of Serbia, the military government, rather. So that's cool, and then if you wanted, you could integrate that puppet and annex it, and as they kind of wanted to have a German Gau here. A German state here. God. Okay, all that aside. The last thing I did was some city changes to Berlin, and a couple color changes. But we'll start with the juice. We'll start with the big juicy part of this, which is the microstates. And we're going to start off with Liechtenstein right here. It is in between Austria and Switzerland. It's very small, and we got our own guy there, Joseph Hoop. We got our flag here. I know, before you comment this, I know that this changed in 1937 to have the crown on it, but I'm not going to... I mean, maybe if you really hate me for it, I'll change it. But for now, I'm not going to have an event a year in that changes this from having no crown to a crown. Sorry about that. But that is them. And the cool thing about Liechtenstein is it is in the German focus tree. I don't know if you know this, but Germany actually has a focus right here, support a coup. It's not historical. But now, well, in base game, when you do it, it adds a victory point for Vaduz in this province, which I guess is the closest thing to Liechtenstein. And it adds a railway going from here to here and blah, blah, blah. But now this actually does what it's kind of pretending to, which is actually annexing Liechtenstein. So that's pretty cool. So in that way, it is integrated. Next up, let's focus on Italy. Italy is known for its microstates. We have San Marino and the Vatican. Rest in peace to Pope. That just happened, I believe, yesterday. And we're gonna start from the north and go down. We got San Marino here, and they have everything as you'd expect. And not everyone knows this, but San Marino's actually was fascist. Fascist regime, kind of like Italy's, during the majority of World War II until around 1944, when it changed its ideology. And that is also reflected in the game. It has its own leader as well. Everything that you would expect for a nation to have, minus any national spirits, unfortunately. But maybe one day I'll add those if I'm bored one day or something. We have the city of Rome here, and then right here on the other side of the river is the Vatican City. It's got the smallest population, I think, for a country in Europe in the game, 1,000, and that's kind of generous, by the way. But here I just used the default picture of Pope Pius the 11th. If you want, I can make a custom one, but I just used this one for now. But very cool. And this also has functionality. I've made it so that if you go down the secret Pope path that Italy has, it will annex this. So that's all well and good. Then we have Monaco over here. They're a nice color red, just like their flag. Right next to Nice. You click on them, and there we are. He's got Louis II, Prince Louis II. They are not aligned. Most of these guys are. And not everyone knows this, but Monaco was involved in World War II. Their neutrality was broken by Italy and the Axis. I believe when Case Anton happened, and that's how it's reflected in game. So when Case Anton happens, and we divvy up the rest of France, Italy will gain this as part of its occupation zone. Very cool. And when Italy fractures into civil war, Germany will take care of this area as it did historically. It was transferred to Germany. So that's all well and good. And I think we only got one more. We have Andorra. It's the biggest one of the bunch. I know it doesn't look like it. Andorra is right in between France and Spain. There we are. Not the best portrait. I don't know why he looks like that. I might ask my portrait guy to change that. But there we are. And all these guys, just for simplicity's sake, have cores, or all nations around them have cores. I know that's not completely historical, but I don't really think it's necessary to do it the other way. That would take a little bit longer to fix other bugs. So this hopefully should negate some of that. And, you know, in the end of the day, it's only San Marino. This is only the Vatican. These are very small potatoes we're talking about here. But Andorra did not get involved in the war, so it's not going to get involved in this mod. It has no content, at least yet. But Monaco's war content is in. Liechtenstein's content, if Germany does this little alt history thing right here, it will get annexed. Very cool. And San Marino will also get involved in the war after the Civil War. I believe the Axis occupied it as the Allies were getting closer, because unlike all these other microstates, there was actually a good reason to occupy San Marino. It had a pretty good strategic position, at least at the time. So they occupied it, and then the Allies will be able to liberate them. Very cool, and they won't be fascist anymore for obvious reasons. And that concludes this section. But very cool. We got 5 new nations in the game. Working on this has made me want to do a Rome rework, along with Paris rework, maybe London as well. Maybe I would add a couple provinces to each one of these capitals. Nothing crazy like with like the big Soviet cities that were fought so hard for, but maybe just split this into 3. Right? That doesn't seem too ridiculous to me. Maybe split Sofia into 2, 3. You know. Stuff like that. Prague, Brussels, maybe that's a stretch. But you know, stuff like that. And I know I listed this as the last thing, but since we're kind of talking about it already, let's dive into Berlin. Berlin was split up. West Berlin was split up into its occupation zones. So France's province, the USA's province, and England's province. These aren't actual separate states, so you can't give each one to each state, unfortunately. But for now, it is there. So in the future, if I wanted to do that, I could dive right in and hopefully do it quickly. And East Germany was split into several different provinces as well. I think the total for the city is around 7, 8, something like that. It's not as big as like some of these cities, like Leningrad, for example, but still decent, so that if you are being pushed to this point, you can still drain some Soviet manpower if you like, if you're playing in Germany. So let's zoom in, and there we go. I also added Potsdam last update, if y'all didn't know that. And these names are just the names of the regions. Boroughs. The boroughs of Berlin. So this is the map I used. Let me know if it's inaccurate or whatever, but I found this online. I found a couple more like it, but they were very low quality. This one actually was quite easily readable. That's why I picked that. But that's what this is based off of. We have this mostly forest province over here, and all the rest of these are city provinces. We got Lichtenberg, we got Penkau, and the actual city of Berlin, the actual victory point, is around where the main district is, and the Berlin gates and all that. So very cool. Then this is the American occupation zone, English occupation zone, French occupation zone. So we got Spandau there, that I believe is where there's a prison that Rudolf Hess ends up spending the rest of his life in, as well as Albert Speer, I believe, and a couple other high-ranking Nazis were sent to Spandau prison. I can only assume that that is in Spandau, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so Berlin has been split into, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 provinces. Okay, so again, not as bad as like Moscow, which I believe has around 11, something like that. But still very cool. And now for the last thing, I need to actually do some prep. Very easy. Okay, so as you can see, we have the Government of National Salvation. It's still here, but now it is split, and we have this called Autonomous Banat. Let me know if you have a better name for this. Leave it down in a comment. I saw a couple different ones. I could have named it in German, but here is this, and not in German right here. Hoi 4 base game is very conflicting on what they like to use. If they like to use the actual language itself, or if they like to use English. Example is German Reich. This should be Deutsches Reich, but it's not. And then there's other ones that are actually like Italy's Civil War. I think it's the Regno del Sud. You know, that's obviously not English, so it's It kind of fights itself on that, but I chose to just leave it English. It's just autonomous, but not for now. And it's got its own leader, Joseph Lapp. This is the historical governor of this region in real life, or a lieutenant governor, I believe. One last thing I want to show you is the Greece color, and then we're going to make Italy fall into civil war, so I can show you some color changes here, and then also show you a special event with San Marino. So what all of it's been done here is that this has been made to look more gray, because I had someone say, hey, it looks like the Hellenic state has more autonomy, because I like what you did with draining the colors of the Reichskommissariats. They look like, more dead versions of themselves. But the Hellenic state was still quite bright. Is that because it had more autonomy or something? And the answer is no. So I gave it a little bit more of a gray color, but you can still see that hint of blue, especially when right here is the normal gray color of a Reichskommissariat. So you can compare that right here, and that is all very cool. So yeah, we have the Banat now, and look at Germany's puppets. Oh my goodness. Let's add 2 more to that. So if you didn't know, if you are testing around and you want to do a civil war and you want to spawn the Ozak, you're going to want to have Italy be in your faction or fighting a war with you first. That's just so that if Italy has nothing to do with Germany, Germany shouldn't just grab these right here. That doesn't make much sense. All right, Italian Civil War. We need a steadfast hand. It doesn't matter what you pick. Boom. And all right, as you can see, Ozak and Ozev are now the same color, almost, as Germany. This is to reflect their status as more integrated than I previously believed. So now you can see they actually match the color. Before, they were the same color as this, if you didn't know. So that's been changed. So that color has been changed, and the Hellenic state has been changed. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the San Marino event. We are Italy. It's okay. Almost tagged Italy. Let's say we get to around here. I'm not going to have the event trigger naturally because I don't want to go through all that. So let's just say the Allies are up to here. Not looking good. Italy might get this event. Alrighty, so it's just a simple event. There's not too much here. But this will show up if you get in a similar situation as that, and you've been in civil war for a good little bit. It just says, breaching San Marino's neutrality. The government has considered a breach of San Marino's neutrality a swift invasion. This is due to the nature of the war at this moment and also San Marino's rather favorable position. You can deny this if you want, but historically they usually won't. You click this, and boom, we are at war. San Marino has switched up on us. They are no longer fascist. They are non-aligned. And we are going to put them down. And there we go. As soon as we capitulate them, they pop back on the map, but now they are on our side. So they are now a puppet of us, and they are back with the fascists in power. So overall, pretty cool, I think. There's a couple more things I probably want to work on before this update releases, but I am planning on having it released before our multiplayer game, which is on Sunday at 1 p.m. EST. So that way we can actually play with all this stuff and have a better looking map, more updated map. So that's about it for this dev diary. Ignore these errors here. This is just because we're doing a bunch of fun stuff in the 16th of January 1936, and it looks like this. Stuff like that is to be expected. But that is about it. Let me know in the comments what else I should work on next. What capitals need a breakup like this? Which ones need it the most? Is it Paris? Is it London? Which ones need it bad? Is it even Warsaw? Should I also be making small cities like this into 2 or 3 provinces just to make them a little bit harder? Even though they're not that many victory points, although 25 is actually quite impressive. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on everything else here. And that is about it. Have a good day. See ya.